welcome you all in the today's lecture of digital signal processing. So in the last lecture we have started about multi-rate digital signal processing, and we have talked about two processes in multi-rate to change the sampling rate, that is downsampling and upsampling, right? So there is sometimes we call it as decimation, but both are not same. There is a slight change in downsampling and decimation, so there is a filter we have to incorporate in the decimation along with the downsampler, and likewise we have the interpolator. So interpolator also we have to incorporate some filter, right? So that you will see what kind of filter it should be. So in the last lecture we have seen that what is the meaning of downsampling in the time domain and upsampling in the time domain, right? So downsampling means dropping some samples by a factor of m, right? And we have denoted it by down arrow of m. And interpolation means, or upsampling means, we are introducing the samples in consecutive new zeros into the consecutive samples, right? So today we are going to see that the effect of downsampling and upsampling in the frequency domain, right? So there are different ways to derive that frequency domain derivation, right, or frequency domain output. So what I will do, I will first start with the sampling process, right? We generally started with the sampling, and so right now we will assume that we are sampling with a different rate. That rate is sometimes m time fs, right? And another way is also there in which we directly can compute the DTFT from the sampled version, right? So we will see both the derivations. So in this particular derivation we are going to start with the Z transform, and from the Z transform we will extract the DTFT expression. So let's say that we compute the G transform of the downsampled version of your X, right, and we denote it by X of Z, and this is the downsampled version, right? So this will be so there are different notations used in different books, right? So either you can write like this or another way, right? Now downsampling, you know that we are actually dropping some samples, right? So likewise we started in case of sampling. So what we did actually, when we want to sample a continuous time signal x of t, we have just multiplied it by an impulse train, if you remember, right? So t minus, this was n times t, where t was the sampling period, and this was an impulse train where n was going from minus infinity to infinity. So in this way we will start with that kind of approach. So we define a function Cm of n, which is like almost same as an impulse train, and depending on the downsampling factor, the impulse train will be non-zero at particular m, right, an integer multiple of m, right? So here let's say the downsampling factor was 3 we have chosen. Okay, so we write it as C3 of m. So we know that we want to keep it or we want to drop 2 samples in case of downsampling factor of 3. So we define the impulse train in which it is defined at every third sample, right? So this is the definition, right? So all the deltas are actually added at the integer multiple of m, and this is a circular convolution also we can write it, because after shifting it circularly we get the same say 3m, right? So we can write it as in this way also. And this is a periodic train, so we can apply Fourier series, right? So your Fourier series says that you can write for any signal, this is nothing but a summation of all exponentials, right? So there is a factor of 1 by m, and this m is going from 0 to m minus 1 because it is defined till m minus 1, and e to the power j 2 pi by m, we are denoting it by wm of right, w of m, right. So from Fourier series we write this expression, right. So how can we obtain a downsampled version of xn? So this will be a downsampled version. This will be nothing but x of nm, right. So we are actually choosing the capital mth sample from xn, right. So we can write this as like this also, right. So we are actually kind of we are taking the instantaneous amplitude at every m, capital M, and we are simply multiplying by impulse train, right. So it is kind of a same thing. So when we multiply zeros with xn, obviously those samples will be dropped, right. So we can write it in this way also, right, like we did in case of sampling. Now when we take the z transform of this expression, so your right hand side will be this one, okay, sorry, yeah. So what will the this will be the expression, right. So this will be the z transform of this, and your this side will be when we compute this as z transform is simply we know the z transform expression, so that will be x of n z to the power of minus n. So if x of n is this much, so just this will go here, and z to the power minus of n, right. Or we can actually change the index. So when we substitute a dummy variable in place of nm, okay, and then again replace nm, let's say that we replace nm by r, and again r is replaced by n again, right. So this will be the limit will be same, and this will be x of n, cm of n, and this will change, right. So it will be simply n by m, okay. So we can write if we open this series, we can write it in this way, right. So when we these zeros are introduced due to this particularly this cm of n, right. Now take the z transform using this particular form, okay. So in this case what we are doing, we are just replacing your cm of n by its Fourier series expansion, right. So I just substituted here the Fourier series expansion, okay. Now I can just bring this factor out and just rewrite this equation in this particular form. So I took this 1 by m and m minus 1 this limit outside, and I kept this inside, right, and I combined this w of n and z to the power of n by m. So we can write it as that your downsampled version z transform is essentially the z transform. So initially the index in the z was only z, now it is scaled by this factor, right. So this is one output we get it. Now when we just replace z by e to the power j theta to get the DTFT or the frequency response, so just substitute it. So we know that in the last expression we are having z to the power of 1 by m. So what will be z to the power 1 by m? So it will be simply g theta upon 1 upon m will come, right. And we know already what is the definition of w to the power of minus m. So it will be simply e to the power j 2 pi by m. So m is extra, so that we can write it as like this. Now what we get when we replace z by theta, so your downsampled DTFT, so this is the DTFT expression. So DTFT expression is nothing but 1 by m. This is the DTFT of original x of n, and your x of f, if I write it down as like this. So what is happening in the downsampled version, what you did, that your original DTFT, which was xf of theta for xn, it has actually not only scaled by m, but also all the spectrums are replicated by 2 pi, right? M means the m is having limit from 0 to m minus 1, so that means we have total capital M replicas. Okay, capital M replicas. So what is happening, we are actually dropping samples in the time domain, so that means we are kind of compressing the signal in the time domain. So in the frequency domain, what is happening, this theta is kind of stretched out, right? Because theta is divided by m, so your new index is not theta, new index is theta by m, so it is kind of stretched out. So spectrum is stretched out. Okay, so this is one expression, we got it. So this we can analyze it in the figure also. So let's say that this is your x of theta, which is the original one, right? So your spectrum, so this is sample version. Okay, sample version DTFT. So this is the DTFT of xn, that is xf of theta, which is band limited between plus minus pi 3. Now what we did, we have downsampled by a factor of 3. So what happened actually after doing this thing, we know that the scale is changed, right? For a downsampled one, we know that the scale is theta by 3. So if we denote it by theta, what essentially happened, initially it was going from pi by 3 to minus pi by 3. Now it has expanded, so the spectrum is stretched out. Okay, and this spectrum has gone at this place, so it is kind of, you see that the spectrum is kind of expanding. Okay, so this is for the first shift when m equals to 0. Okay, when m equals to small m equals to 0. Now for how many shifting, so if I go back and show you, so we have, this is first part, we have denoted it for m equals to 0. Now we have to shift it by 1, and m can go up to what, 0 to m minus 1. So m is 3, that means m will go from 0 to 2, right? So this is 0th one, this is first one. So first one, what is happening, this will be shifted here from pi to 3 pi, and for m equals to 2 we will get this one, right? So if I combinedly write it, because you have to add all those shifted version as well, right? Because there is a summation sign here, so we have to add everything. So if I add the 0th part, first part and second part, so I denoted it by different colors. So this will be the resultant version of downsampled DTFT, right? So what is happening, that this was your original spectrum. Okay, so I got the replicas here, and after that the original spectrum is replicated, right? So let's say that the original spectrum was actually greater than this pi by 3. So what would have happened? Obviously we could have interfered these replicas to each other, and that could have caused aliasing, right? So I am not talking about the scaling factor, that is easy because there is a 1 by m factor, so that will scale, right? That is easy to write it. Now what we get from this sample, right? So we will, that decimated signal in the frequency domain will not have aliasing only and only if when your original DTFT is 0 for the frequency greater than pi by m, right? Because we, in the last example, we took m equals to 3 and original spectrum was defined till pi by 3, and after that it was 0. Suppose it was defined at pi by 2, right? So when we take m equals to 3 in that particular spectrum and it is defined till pi by 2, definitely the replicas could have overlap and we will get aliasing. So this is a condition to avoid aliasing in the decimated signal, right? So it is not easy just simply downsample. Okay, we have to take care about the spectrum part, right? Okay, so one more thing is very easy to see, that there is no effect of basically on the frequency. Okay, so don't think that actually the cutoff frequency has changed. Cutoff frequency is still same, but spectrum is kind of stretched. Okay, so we'll see this with one example. So let's say that you have a xn, that is discrete signal, and it was sampled at the 60 mega samples per second, and when you have downsampled it by 3, so definitely your downsampling by 3 means your new sampling rate will be 20 mega samples per second. So this was your original spectrum, which was defined between -10 to +10 megahertz, right? So in I am just drawing the -pi to pi. So in the downsampled version or the decimated version, what we had actually, we got this spectrum stretched till -pi to +pi, but we know that this -pi and +pi are the discrete frequencies, and those are mapped according to your sampling frequency, right? And this is also known as folding frequency, if you remember. So the folding frequency is defined with respect to fs. So here the fs was 60, so the -pi to pi was actually the -30 to +30, and here it is -10 to +10, right? So spectrum is still in the same bandwidth, right? So the physical frequency is not changed by the decimation process, right? So this is one way of deriving this. So yeah, now I can tell you one more way actually how can we derive it. So there are many ways you can derive this decimation, and that thing we can repeat it for upsampler, right? That's not a difficult task. Okay, now so let's say that directly I want to get the same expression using the sampled version of DTFT. So there is no need to compute Z transform, directly I will derive it from the sampled version. So what was the sampled version? So what we did actually, we were having xc of t, that is a continuous time signal. We have sample it, so we got x of n, right? So x of n was nothing but xc of nt, right, where t was the sampling period. So we know that your sampled version DTFT is nothing but 1 upon t summation of xc of j omega upon t minus j of 2 pi k upon t, where k was going from -infinity to +infinity. Let's call this as equation 1. So what is happening, you have sampled it with the rate of t, and your original spectrum was shifted at every 2 pi. Okay, so in downsample case we define the downsample as xd of n, so that we can write it as, we have just dropped out samples for every in between every m, and we can also define it as xc of n m t. So I am trying to find the relationship between all three versions, right? Now your sampling rate has changed now. So what is your new sampling rate? That it will be simply m times t, right? So we can just directly write it from equation 1. So your xd of j omega must be 1 upon, it will be new t dash, right? If you just sample it, the xct with this particular rate, so your new expression will be 1 upon t dash, where t dash is mt, summation r equals to -infinity to +infinity xc of j omega. Now this will be new t dash and j minus 2 pi r upon t dash, right? Now let's take this r as I plus km. I'll come to that why I have taken this index. So in this particular case, what will be the limit? So if I just write the limit, so I is going from 0 to m minus 1, because r is going from -infinity to infinity, right? So I can take value from 0 to m minus 1. Okay, so if I just rewrite this particular expression, so I can write it as xd of e to the power j omega, that is 1 upon m summation. Now the limit has changed, it was r, now I will keep the limit as I equals to 0 to m minus 1, right? We have to keep the two limits. Now there will be limit for I And what will be the limit for k? Because now we are substituting r by 2 factors, so it will be factored in 2 parts. So what will be the limit for k? So k will be simply minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, so what will be the expression? So this will be 1 upon t, and that will be k equals to minus infinity to plus infinity. So this will be x of c. So you see that I am directly obtaining relation from continuous time domain signal. So this will be j omega upon mt minus j upon 2 pi. So I am just factoring it, the k r factor. So now it will be k times, this will be m upon mt minus j times 2 pi I upon mt. Okay, now what I will do, I'll just take this out, 1 upon t outside. So on the outside it will be 1 upon mt. So this will be k equals to minus infinity, this will be minus infinity to plus infinity, and this will be the second limit, that is I equals to 0 to m minus 1 xc of j omega minus 2 pi I upon mt. Okay, and minus j 2 pi I upon t. Okay, now let's call it as equation number 2. Now what I will do, you come to equation 1 and just compare with the equation 2. Okay, so if you compare it, you can see that if I, instead of j omega, I will just replace omega by omega minus 2 pi I upon m. So what will be the equation 1? So from equation 1, I am just replacing capital X. Okay, so capital X, this expression, instead of omega I am writing it as, so that both the equation I can find the relation between equation 1 and equation 2. So I just, what I am doing, I am just replacing omega by omega minus 2 pi I upon m. So just let me write that. So e to the power j omega minus 2 pi I upon m. So what will be that? 1 upon t, that is 1 upon t xc of, so that will be xc of, so instead of omega what will happen? It will be omega minus 2 pi I upon m t. Okay, so this part has completed. Now left is this part, so let me write that part also. So that is j of 2 pi k upon t. So now can you compare equation 1 and equation is this equation and this equation? Let me call this equation as equation 3. Now compare equation 2 and equation 3. Are they same? Yes. Okay, so we actually found out the relation between the xd and your discrete or sampled version, right? So I just rewrite that expression. Let me write that expression relation. So this will be xd of e to the power j omega. We can write it as 1 upon m I equals to 0 to m minus 1, that is extra thing, x of e to the power j omega minus 2 pi I upon m. So what is meaning? This is the discrete or a sampled spectrum, and it is scaled by omega by m, and this is the shifted version. So isn't it same as we derived it from z expression xz? Isn't it same as this expression? Because here the omega is just replaced by theta, and rest of the expression is almost same, right? So you see here we obtain the same expression, right? So this is another way to derive this particular downsampled version. Now we can extend the same thing for interpolation or upsampler, right? For interpolation, what is happening? we have to introduce more zeros, right? So we start with the Z transform. So this is the Z transform. Now we have introduced zeros here. So your new index will be z to the power ln, and we can write it as your discrete version. We can obtain the interpolated x of z by just changing the index z by z to the power l, right? So this is one relation. Okay. Now we can see this thing in DTFT also. Just replace z equals to the power j theta. So z to the power l will be e to the power jl theta. So you can see that DTFT of this will be interpolated signal. Interpolated signal, right? So that will be, you just change the index by l theta. So when we multiply the x-axis by any factor, it is l here. So what is happening? Your spectrum is compresses, right? So spectrum is even compressing down. In time domain it is stretching. Okay, so in the time domain it is expanding, and frequency domain it is compressing. Okay, now this we can visualize in the figure also. So this is the DTFT of your sampled version. So this is the original spectrum. Now we interpolate it by a factor of 3. So we will introduce 2 zeros, right? So what is happening? This is not only shrink down between minus pi to pi, but also these replicas are also coming here. So this replica has come here, and this replica has come here, right? So expansion not only causes the shrink of that, but also it will introduce some replicas. Okay, now how can we actually remove those replicas? If we use some kind of filter of pi by l, then we can remove those replicas. Okay, so if you remove that, and if you see the original signal after just passing this to a filter, that interpolated output through a filter, we can say that what is happening here. If you see this particular spectrum, we can say that we are actually, when you compare with this one, we are actually sampling it 3 times faster than the original sampling rate, right? So what we saw, actually here we need a filter after interpolation to avoid the aliasing. Otherwise, if you see there is one more replica here. So what will happen if you take L equals to 4 here? This will also come here, so it will interfere with the next one, right? So that is anyhow introducing aliasing. So we have to use post filter, and in decimation we have to use pre filter. Why? Because we need to that spectrum is compressing, the expanding, that is expanding, so it should not interfere with the other one. So that we'll see in detail also. So yeah, so when we want to avoid the aliasing in a decimation process, we have to ensure that whatever the decimation rate we are using, we have to pass with that particular cutoff frequency. So we often call it as pre-filter to avoid aliasing, right? So for example, this is your xn. So what we did, after passing through this filter, we have just made it between minus pi to pi by m to pi by m, so that even if it is expanded, if I show you the expansion one, yeah, so even if it is expanded, what is happening for expansion means, if it is 3, we have to take replicas also, n equals to 1, n equals to 2, and n equals to 3, and we have to add all those 3, right? So when we add it, basically it should not interfere, right? So we have to before interpolation, we should ensure that the next replica should be after that particular interval, right? Otherwise there will be a definitely aliasing. Okay, now when we use a filter along with a downsample process, so this should be a downsampling process or downsampler. So when we use combinedly downsampler and this filter, then we call this complete process as decimation. Okay, but sometimes some books directly call this as also decimation, but there should be a filter along with the downsampler, so that we can call that complete process as decimation. Now the same thing you can talk about the interpolation. So for interpolation we have to use the post filter after interpolation, right? That we know why, because there are images, so other replicas are also coming into the minus pi to pi. So to avoid that replicas we have to use post filter. Okay, so if you see the post filter, what is happening? So this was your original spectrum, sample spectrum. So when we expanded it, what is happening? This has shrinked. So from minus pi to pi it has come to minus pi by 3 to plus pi by 3 for L equals to 3, and whatever the replicas were there, those replicas are also coming here. Okay, so we have to avoid these replicas. So when we pass through this filter, we will get only this output, not this output. So what is happening here, when we see this output and compare with the original one, we see that the spectrum is compressed. That means we are getting more and more sample in between. And if you just see the interpolated output, these more samples are not zero, right? If you see this output, this was the original output, right? So we got these two new samples, and those are not zero. Okay, those samples are not zero, so that is very much better. Okay, although we started with introducing interpolation, but we get new samples, right? So interpolation is sometimes very useful. Okay, that's why and please I'll just again remind you that this thing we call it as either expander or upsampler, and when we use it combined with filter, then we call it as interpolation. And there are different types of interpolation, right? So when we start with the interpolation, we could have introduced zeros, and in this process we directly got some samples. Okay, and there are some other interpolation that I will talk about later. Now when we use the filter along with decimation and interpolation process, what is happening? We can write the expression as, so this is your discrete signal. So first we have to pass it through pre-filter. Let's call this as x cap of n. So x cap of n can be written as by the convolution operation, right? So after that we have to downsample it. So index n will be changed to nm. So obviously you have to change it to here also. And when we compare it with the interpolation expression, so first we have to interpolate it. So when we first interpolate it, what is the expression? So it will be simply n upon L, right? And then we have to pass through a filter, right? So this will be n upon L, and this L can be shifted here. So I will just erase this thing, right? So we have just shifted it so that we can write in this particular way also. Now if you compare this interpolated output with the decimated output, we see that here the input is same, but in filter you can think of that you can design or store the filter. For interpolation we have to stagger the input index, and for decimation we have to stagger the output index, right? Okay, so I will close